Welcome to The Preferred List, a podcast about the people behind the best wedding days. I'm James, a wedding filmmaker. I've spent years in the industry working alongside incredible vendors, and this show is all about real conversations with the ones who make it happen. Whether you're a vendor or a couple, you'll get honest insight, good stories, and maybe a little inspiration along the way. Let's meet today's wedding vendor. Hey Leroy, how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad to have you on. And guys, Leroy, I asked him to be on the podcast over Instagram, and he hit me back with the best video response. And he's like, "Is this what you want for the podcast?" And I'm like, "Absolutely."
It was heavy energy, way too much.
We were zoomed in really far at the start, but we figured it out.
It turned out great.
Yeah. So I'm so excited to have you on, Leroy. And Leroy runs Brofficiant. He is an officiant of the bro category. We're figuring it all out.
Yes,
the one and only. And so I'm so excited to hear more about the way that you craft your wedding ceremonies and how you work with couples and kind of the heart behind your business.
Yeah.
But before we jump into that, we're here at Hazelwood Weddings. Hazelwood Weddings is a modern wedding venue in New Oxford, Pennsylvania, specializing in weddings, micro weddings, and elopements with easy access to Gettysburg, York, Lancaster, and Baltimore. It's built specifically for weddings, and you'll find an intentional variety of bright, open spaces, bathed in natural light and surrounded by stunning woodland views. Hazelwood is the perfect backdrop for your day, and an even better backdrop for your photos. And I know you know Kate really well.
Yep.
Just such a great human, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm so grateful, all the things to be able to be here and be able to meet new vendors like yourself.
Yeah, this is amazing. A great opportunity and just shenanigans right and left. So let's just do it.
All around. Maybe up and down. I don't know. We're going to figure it out.
All the directions.
So, Leroy, tell me a little bit about how Brofficiant, your business, officiating started and kind of
Absolutely.
like where it came from.
Yeah, honestly, it's crazy if you think about it. So, shockingly, back in 2013, I was picked up to DJ weddings.
Oh,
I
nice.
was at a wedding, and a company found me and said, "Hey, you want to DJ?" I said, "Sure." Loving that, hyped it all up. You get to see ceremonies, cocktail hour, and receptions. Fast forward to about 2018, my best friend from high school and college was getting married, and she said, "Hey, will you DJ my wedding?" I said, "In a heartbeat. I would love to be out there twerking on the dance floor with all of you." And as they were doing the planning process is when we finally found out that she needed an officiant. So she called me and said, "Hey, we would love for you to be our officiant. Would you get ordained for us?" And I said, "Say less." Got ordained. It was the 21st of September, Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I did their wedding as my first one as an officiant. And ever since then, it's just been an amazing flow and journey of just learning couples from the beginning to the end.
It's so fun how businesses can be built out of the simplest, most innocent
yeah.
question of "Hey, could you do this for me?" And you're like, "Yeah." And then it's like, "Let's make it a business."
Right.
How did it go from that one wedding, seeing that it was fun, enjoying that whole process to let's make it a full blown business
Yeah.
and do a ton more of them?
Right. So how I ended up getting into more ceremonies was really the comments from their family and friends at the end of their ceremony. We did the recessional. Everyone left. They went for pictures. And I am grateful enough to have had that friendship with them both, that when their family and friends were like, "Hey, this ceremony was them. You nailed it." That started to just kind of snowball into more and more ceremonies where I said, "You know what? I think I want to keep doing this." And by word of mouth, referrals and other friends and family that were getting married, they said, "Hey, we'd love for you to be our officiant." It just kind of became a thing. And I loved every single one of those couples that came through. And really that mentality is what stuck to it. And it was, how do I make this ceremony about you two? I want your family and friends to be able to say that was them. The funnier side is I want those family and friends to be like, "So how long have you known them?" Some of them I've known since high school and college. Others I met online.
Yeah.
And it's just a funny story when they're like, "You must have known them for years." I'm like,
No.
"Yeah, sure. No, just met me."
Well, I would say from my perspective as a videographer, I love
Mhm.
when the ceremony, the officiant Oftentimes it's because they know them in some capacity, but when it's personalized, when
Yep.
there's stuff about the couple in there, when there's like specific notes, nods to where
Right.
they came from, how they got here, that just like crushes in
Right.
our films. And so I'm like, kudos to you for
Yeah.
going that extra mile because you could very easily be the officiant. You could have this fun, bubbly personality,
Right.
but you could go in and kind of just say the same thing,
Right.
like run through the formalities. There is some formalities in a
Mhm.
ceremony. You got to
Correct.
do the rings. You got to,
Yes.
there's some things you have to do, but what is it about learning the couple's story that's just so fun and exciting and something that like kind of keeps drawing you back
Yeah.
in?
Oh, this is one of my favorite things to ever answer. We do discovery calls and consultations, and we talk throughout the planning process. I do let all of my couples know that, hey, you can talk to me as much or as little as you need to as we get to your wedding day. And as you said, there's a cookie cutter skeleton to every ceremony, just like there's a cookie cutter skeleton to every day. And it's our job as vendors to figure out what that looks like. So for their ceremonies, I love, and I say this all the time, I love, but that word is used so much. I love buffalo chicken dip. I love basketball. I love football. But for my couples, and we have these conversations, I ask them, I was like, I want that 4 letter word to mean so much more. And I want you guys to try and explain to me what that means to you both and how that flourished from the beginning of your relationship up into this celebration at your ceremony.
Dang, this is so good. Guys,
So deep.
this is so good. I'm like, can you follow me around and help me get audio for my
Oh,
films? Because
absolutely,
that
if you
would
need it.
be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of fun to really hone in on that because as a wedding, it's one day for all of us. And I always say by the end of the reception or by the time they do their first dance, that's my exit. Like that's where our relationship in the aspect of what we've grown ends. Do I have to cry? Sometimes. Do they let me stay and dance with them? Absolutely. But it's creating that atmosphere
Yeah.
with them that allows us to have that celebration from the moment their guests arrive at the ceremony, which is the reason we're there. The biggest reason
Yeah.
is to
Yeah, for
celebrate
sure.
them. So how do I, as your officiant, make that celebration what it needs to be when everyone gets there first?
Yeah. So you mentioned giving couples a space to either talk a bunch to you
Hmm.
or maybe not talk to you much. I'm assuming maybe you enjoy when they talk to you a little bit
All the
more.
time.
Yeah.
All the time. More the merrier.
How do you help like if there's a couple listening that's like, "Hey, that sounds awesome, Leroy, but like I don't like really being like open and like
Hmm.
because you got to get a little bit of
Right?
the backs like they have to be willing to kind of open
Right.
up to you a little bit. For those that are listening that are like, I just don't know how I feel like how do you kind of make them feel comfortable enough
Yeah.
to give you the stuff that you need to make it a really personal
Yeah,
ceremony?
yeah. So typically, most of the couples that come to me do want that love shared, but I do get several couples that are like, "Hey, we don't want to be the center of attention, but we understand it's our ceremony. So how will you navigate that? We customize it. We make it very unique to them. Like, do you want to recite your vows in front of your family and friends, or would you recommend doing private vows?" Separately, and my job as your officiant is to help that flow happen. If you don't want to talk about you two and get real deep and have to repeat a bunch of words, we'll make it about you. I've had weddings that have gone 27 minutes of just them talking and really being about them, and I've had some that have gone as fast as 9 minutes, and they were just like, we want to be married.
Yeah.
There are some important structures within each ceremony that have to happen, and then my flow is to make that fit what you're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like you're kind of like a choose your own adventure
Hmm.
for each couple,
I never
right?
thought about it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, because if they do want that big, long, sort of drawn out storyline, you're gonna
Hmm.
have all that information from them. You can do that for them if they want the formalities done in a little note of
Right.
like, "Hey, glad you guys are all here, but let's get right into
Yeah.
this." Then
Yeah.
you can do that for them too.
Exactly.
When you're in that planning process, is it pretty quick for you to realize kind of like what type of kind of couple they're going to be in
Yeah.
terms of like the a ton of story and kind of like not much story?
Yeah, yeah. So when we are in that planning process, it is actually pretty quick and flow, and that goal is really to find out what they want, and I find that out even when we do our initial discovery. Like do you want the drawn out or are you more laid back? How do you want me to do this? Now, we do talk about like a quick getting to know you. It's a questionnaire that they just kind of tell me, how your love story began. And then I ask the simple questions, what's the reason you love each other? And we dive into that as we get closer to the wedding day. And then, of course, what's the reason, the biggest reasons you guys have and want this celebration, this ceremony to be what it is? And there's little check boxes, I just want to spend time on my boo thing. And others, I just want to party with my friends. And we come together by the end of our phone calls, our video chats, sometimes in person, and just figure out where that goes.
Yeah. For the couples that are thinking about, like, do we do handwritten vows? Do we do like a call and response type of
Hmm.
thing for that specific moment? What's your advice for picking the kind of route that they go? And then if they do like a handwritten
Hmm.
thing, what's your best advice to kind of do that really well?
I love this one for the simple fact that it is, I ask up front, and it may change, from the moment we start. They're like, we might want to write our vows. Okay. And sometimes they switch, like, hey, we don't want to write our vows. We just want to repeat after you. I'm like, okay. So I send them an email, a questionnaire that just answers 3 questions. The first one is, what do I love about my person? The second is, what are my intentions for this marriage? And my third is, what are my promises to you? And all they have to do, it's their homework, is answer 2 to 3 sentences on each of those. And that helps me create the flow of their ceremony. And then we decide, do you guys want to do the vows by repeating after me, or do you want to do some private letters to each other? But this at least gives you a nice little chunk of what you want to do and want to say to each other for videographers who
Yeah.
want to have those private moments, where they don't have to overthink it, but it still centers it around them.
And I will say, because you've mentioned a couple times, it can change.
Hmm.
And we've even had, like, so you mentioned it in the sense of like, they might want to write them and then they don't, and then they do and then they don't. But we've even had where they have handwritten vows that were supposed to be read in the ceremony, and then the bride's like, I don't want to read them in front
Yeah.
of everyone. I
Yeah.
want to just do it like a
Yeah.
private during the first look or
Hmm.
something. So just say that.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
Exactly.
Because it sounds like for you too, it's like, I just need to know what you guys want.
Correct.
And if you're going to change it, just tell me and we'll make it work.
Yes, and it's happened to me many times in ceremonies, and they're like, "Well, what do you do?" And it's super simple. Me as as the voice for all of you is to share with your family and friends what happens if you were going to do vows privately, and that was your choice. My job, my role is to let your family and friends know why and what's happening next. I want them to know that there were vows that were said between each other. They're not happening here, but they said them somewhere, and that's what is most meaningful to them and to you too. And that allows a couple of people in the crowd to be like, "Oh, that makes sense. This guy's he's figured it out."
He's on to
Yep.
something.
Yeah, because some friends and family are like, "Well, why aren't they repeating anything?"
Yeah.
They didn't want to,
Yeah.
and that's okay because the vows is for them.
And it doesn't make it any less or more special to
Correct.
do a vow, handwritten vow at the ceremony
Hmm.
or during a first look
Right.
or
Right.
during the getting ready process. Like if you don't want to see each other, like there's so
Yeah.
many options that you can
Yes.
do. But it sounds like you're willing to kind of walk them through the process on like how to write those and
Yep.
how to make them kind of fit together.
Yes.
The last thing you want is one person to say like, I love you,
Right.
cool. And then the other person have this like big, long,
Yes.
drawn out
Yeah, yeah,
storyline.
exactly. You're right. And I've every once in a while, if I do send that out, I'll get like my one will eventually be like, I love you. And I'm like, well, I need a little bit
A
more.
little
Like,
bit more.
give me those 2 to 3 sentences and we'll work from there. And honestly, just being surrounded by that ability to communicate with them and figure out what they want to do, we do get to eventually figure out, like, does it flow? I've had several couples reach out to say, hey, is this good? And I say, it's your voice, it's your tone. I can't change anything. Maybe put a comma here, but other than that, like, it's your voice and it sounds amazing.
Yeah. I think it's helpful for them to have an opportunity to show it to you if they want to.
Right.
Because you obviously have done tons of
Hmm.
ceremonies and like, hey, maybe that sentence just needs to be reworded a
Yeah.
little bit. Kind of sounds funny. If they want to. If they
Right.
don't, like, it's obviously going to be in their
You're right.
voice and kind of their thing, anyways. Um, was there a moment in that first ceremony that you did where you were standing up there and you were like, yo, this is like a thing that I want to do again?
Yeah. I remember standing next to Lindsay and John in front, and I remember the one thing she said to me was, hey, I want this ceremony to be about us, but I don't want to cry. I want to make it emotional, but I don't want to be sappy. You can make us laugh. And I'll never forget, I went out and I bought a I bought a bow tie that had astronaut kitties on it. So they both came up and those teary eyes came up, and I remember them both saying, "We want this to be about us." And I said, "I need to break this before the tears happen." And I said, "Lindsay, John, I got a surprise for you. Look at my tie." And when they looked at it, they cracked up. I think it's still my profile picture on the Proficient. That is them laughing at that bow tie. And that just feeling to watch them flow out into like, this is our ceremony. Now we're going to get through it, knowing that I'm their bro. I have your back. What do you need from me? What can I do to make this about you and make it what you need? And that just feeling happens at every single ceremony. What can I do for you? How can I be your bro?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's all making sense now.
Yeah.
It's all making sense. I love it. Is there a part of it I feel like as much as it can be fun
Hmm.
and upbeat, there's a part of I feel like the ceremony process where you might need to be a little bit more
Yeah,
professional.
absolutely.
There's a part of it maybe you're a little bit more warmer, inviting.
Hmm.
How are you balancing kind of all of those things while still being lively,
Right.
slightly entertaining in some way or another, but also kind of keeping that like professional
Yeah. Yeah.
way about you?
So one thing that I really love doing for all of my couples is just ensuring that we have an unplugged announcement. It's my favorite thing to do. It's a good welcome to all of your family and friends. You got the BRO of bro, but I've been thinking about it in my head. It's called the UNC. It's your unplugged, your need, and then your ceremony. So unplugged announcement is what it is. That's how I welcome everyone. Just immerse themselves, even if they have a sign. Then the N, of course, is the need, and that's me making sure to those family and friends, like, I need you to be immersed in this so that we can just flow and just enjoy this love, and then our ceremony begins. And I think that really balances out where my bubbly personality comes out. And then, of course, getting into the welcome, that's kind of where we do have that warmth and some humor. But the most important part's where we get serious, like right before we get into your vows, or whatever it is that flows, we do talk about the reason that we're here
Yeah.
and that celebration. And then we just flow through it. I mean, you got your vows, your ring exchange, your declaration of intent, and all of that stuff can be intertwined and mixed to fit your flow. Once we get to the final remarks, that's usually where I'm like, I'm grateful. I say it probably 2 or 3 times in a ceremony. Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you, family and friends, for coming and celebrating. And then, of course, I have to bring out my own personality. Like, I definitely, as your officiant, do not want to be in that picture. So I might do something silly, but I'm gone.
Yeah.
I walk away. You can have that moment, and then when you're ready, I'll come back. Make sure you're facing your family and friends, and we send you back up.
Yeah. How important do you think it is like for the couple to be like selecting someone like yourself, or if they're even thinking of like a family member or
Mhm.
friend, how important is it for them to get the right person to do the ceremony?
Yeah, I think it's imperative. I mean, when I prioritize weddings from a vendor standpoint, I always put like your planners and coordinators first, and then your entertainment, and of course your photographers. That's your top three. From there, your planner will tell you exactly who needs to come next. But when it comes to picking your officiant and what you need for your day, it's really being able to find somebody that's going to make this about you and make this flow happen and make it a, your day.
Yeah. I it seems like a simple thing,
Hmm.
but I think I've heard more, not like horror stories as in like it's scary, but just like couples thinking like, hey, this person's gonna show up and do a good job. And it's
Yeah.
like, ooh, that didn't really
Yeah.
hit. Um and so I think is there like a way couples are like, hey, I really want like Uncle John to do this
Hmm.
ceremony for us because he's really meaningful. He's a big part of my life
Yeah.
for whatever reason or another. Is there like a litmus test that you have for couples that are thinking about that? You can just kind of give them some value of like, hey, if he is this type of person or has
Hmm.
this type of personality, like it's probably going to go well. Or if he has these resources, it's probably actually going to go better
Yeah.
than if he didn't.
As far as like a litmus test, I do like to ask when we do have those calls and they're like, hey, we think we're gonna go with our best friend from college. That's exactly the reason I
Yeah.
kind of got into it. So I'm like, how do I navigate this that it makes sense? And I want to provide value to those couples by just reassuring them like, hey, if that's one more box you can check off and you can get closer to your wedding day, I'm happy for you. I'm excited. You have my number. Please call me if anything happens. And we cross fingers and toes that there might be some availability still, but I always offer the opportunity if they would like that they could have their ceremony come to me. I kind of generate it, and then if they want to, we talk to their whoever their officiant is and have them like, hey, this is how you run a ceremony and flow nicely.
Yeah.
So that's something I've been working on in the last, I think, 6 months, and it's just a really cool concept. And when I take a step back, it's kind of cool because it's like I can't be your officiant that day because you wanted someone else, which is great, but you still wanted that energy, that
Yeah.
vibe. So how can I at least
It's a
send it
really
your
cool
way?
service for people who are stepping into that
Right?
role and maybe are like, "Oh gosh, what have I got myself
Correct.
into?"
Yeah.
Because they don't when you get asked, like I feel like when you get asked, you're like, "Yeah, totally. This would
Uh
be
huh.
great." And then you sit back and you're like, "Now I need
What's
to figure it
next?
out." Yeah.
How do I start?
Yeah.
What's the first thing
So
I
it
need to
seems
do?
like a cool service that you could have
Yeah.
almost like I don't know, is it a service that people can pay for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's so
Just
cool.
started looking into it over the summer, and then as the wedding season starts to bob and weave through the winter, it's just something I want to really spearhead and make concrete, where they can come in and almost pick and choose how a ceremony would flow for them, like we talked about.
But you can help them really like develop
Yeah,
it and have it
absolutely.
be, not you,
Right.
but like the systems
Yes.
to
Yes.
like what you would do.
Correct. It's the bro flow,
The
which
bro
is
flow.
weird to say, but it's the bro flow for like your
Selling the
family and
bro
friends.
flow. That's such a good
Where's my camera?
the branding on that.
The
Yeah, right
bro
here.
flow.
Right here.
The bro flow. The bro flow.
That one can't see you,
That
but
well,
you
then
can
that one
yeah.
there. Hey, the bro flow.
Yeah, no, that's so cool though. It's like such a good service because there's gonna be as much as you would probably want to do all of those weddings that
Hmm.
get done by family or friends,
Right.
you're still able to kind of put a little bit of the broness and
Yeah.
all of that.
Absolutely.
For couples that are wanting, maybe they have you, maybe they have a friend or family that's doing the officiating, but they want to include like mom or dad or grandma or Aunt Susan. Like,
Mm.
what are some good ways that those special family members that they want to include could be a part of it in some way?
Yeah. So I call them inter ceremony experiences. And that really is anything from a reading, a scripture, a passage, a poem. We have hand fasting, ceremonies, candle lighting. So as couples are trying to figure out what they want to do, if they want to include family and friends, that's where I create those opportunities where they can ask them, and we just kind of fit it into what matters most to them.
Yeah. It seems like there's tons of
Oh
options.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, so if you have someone that you want to put in there,
Just
like,
tell me.
yeah,
Just say, hey, I want to use them. Sure, I'll figure out a microphone. We'll talk to your DJ or whoever's in charge of mics, and we'll get it figured out.
yeah. Is there anything that couples, or I guess even like the vendor side of things that vendors or couples could do to help you run like a smooth, no hiccups type of
Yeah,
ceremony?
there's two sides to this pillow. The best is the cool side of the pillow, which is having your planner or coordinator, someone who will help that flow happen, so that your couple and their guests and their wedding party don't have to worry about a thing. But there are moments when you go to specific venues where they're like, hey, we just didn't want a planner, but we do have someone who says that they'll be there, which is great. That's where I step in. And I think it's the years of being in this industry and seeing weddings as a, what previously as a DJ, but now as an officiant, I'm seeing it more frequently where we have that person, but when it comes to a rehearsal, no one's telling you who's flowing with who's walking with who, what music, like all of those things that I've learned as a DJ, as an officiant, and the wedding season is how do I provide a planner esque style because we don't have one,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of fun. It's very stressful on the inside, but I always have a smile on my face. When I leave the ceremony, I got pit stains, but
Yeah.
I'm like, but everything looked good.
Everything looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say, I think that you'd be the most fun DJ. I don't know. Do you still do it at all?
I do, yeah,
Okay.
I do absolutely. It's wild. It's a lot of fun. I still get picked up to DJ for an amazing company right now, and then occasionally I'll do some where I'll do full service, and that's officiant and DJ, and it is just a roller coaster of emotions. We're serious at the
Yeah,
ceremony,
yeah.
cocktail hour. I get the marriage license figured out. I say, I'll see you guys at reception. I line everyone up. We come in and we're going feral by 8 p.m. if grandma's okay with it. And we just have fun.
Yeah, that's so fun. DJs I think have such a fun job. I just
Yeah.
think it's just so fun. So fun though. Like just like throwing the tunes out there, getting the party going. So there's probably a lot of couples that are listening that are like, okay, I'm like this way and my soon to be spouse is completely opposite
Hmm.
personality wise. One might be bubbly,
Hmm.
they both might be bubbly, one might be like super reserved, not really
Right.
outspoken, introvert, extrovert. Is there a good way that you've found to kind of like do a ceremony that still kind of fits
Hmm.
well with both of those kind of differing personalities?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I look at both of them in the planning process, at the rehearsal, if I'm there, or even the ceremony, and say, it's just us three up here. We will figure it out. Whether one's introverted, one's extroverted, whether they're both bubbly, it just works out. When it comes to the ceremony itself, the only people who really know that are us three. And I tell them sometimes, you might black out in this wedding ceremony. You might not know what's going on next, but let me guide you through what's going to happen by allowing you the ability to figure out where we're going. But it really hasn't. I've never come across a couple that's had two different extremes and it not flow.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like with a lot of that, you're getting a lot of that information well
Right. Oh yeah,
before you would
absolutely.
have to stand up and
Yes.
start
Yeah.
talking.
So if one was like what we said earlier, like if one was like, these are my vows, it's two sentences, and the other one's like, here's my novel, we have to find a happy medium.
Yeah,
Will we make this ceremony about both of you? I want both of you to say enough. But if one of you's like, "Ugh, ditto, I messed up somewhere because we didn't talk about it. So how do we make sure that that does not happen?
yeah. So is your service, your officiating service, does it always come with that kind of day before rehearsal kind of thing, or is it like separate? They can add that on.
Yeah, so typically it can be added on as we discuss things, and with wedding trends changing. Like a lot of couples are now having day of rehearsals, which makes things a little bit more of a challenge to provide the officiant there. And if that's the case, I can make those happen. I make those work. But venues like this one, who have amazing planning staff, I look at couples and say, "You don't need me. I want to be there. I would love to hang out with you. It's so much fun.
Yeah,
I want to be where you two are." But the real transparency in that is that you are in the best of hands. That I will still show up. I will be there. If you need me to grab you guys something on the way in, I'm your bro. Call me. But when I show up, I'll find you both, and we'll have everything figured out. So no, I never really have a problem or an issue when it comes to the rehearsals. It's just figuring out if they need it or if they don't, and what those factors are.
yeah. I mean, it seems like you're taking a very like transparent
Oh
approach.
yeah,
Like if they do need it, you're gonna say it. If they don't, you're not. You're not gonna be like, hey, you should probably have me
correct.
there and
Absolutely,
pay me extra money or anything like
absolutely.
that.
No, I don't. It's some couples are like, I'll never forget them. I do have one coming here actually, and they're like, we have Hazelwood and we have the Blake event team, and I was like, you don't need me for anything except the I do's. They're like, what? I was like, I cannot tell you how amazing that team together is. That I want to be there. I would
Yeah,
love for you to pay for me to be at the rehearsal, but there's no reason for me to be there because they're going to have it all handled now. You can call me and say you need something in the morning. I'll go get it for you. But regardless, I will be there, and you're in the best of hands.
yeah. So you've been doing officiating for several years now.
Yes.
How much from that first one or that first maybe like when you decided it was a business
Hmm.
kind of thing, how much has your officiating like transformed or
Yeah.
changed over those years?
Yeah, I would say it's honestly maintained the integrity of that transparency, and of course, being your bro. Like I want that to be the real thing that happens as we, create your experience, your ceremony, the celebration of your next chapter. The way that it's transformed is, how do we make each and every one of these ceremonies unique to you? And that is a huge drive for me. Every time I get the opportunity to talk to a couple, I want them to know that they are my couple. It's not a wedding date to me. I am not an officiant who will book 2 or 3 ceremonies in one day. I have one. It is you. This is it, and we go on. That we move, we flow, we fire through. But I want that very important feeling on their side as well as my side, to know that I am your bro. You can trust me. I can trust you. We're going to make this happen.
If you had to describe to me like what a perfect
Yeah.
ceremony, I know it's like I don't even want to
Ooh,
really
it's
say the
hard.
word perfect, but um, maybe even just like at the end of it, you're like that went well, like that was what it was supposed to
Yes.
be. What would go into a ceremony, or how would it flow for
Yeah.
you to sit back and be like, yes,
It depends on the couple. It changes every single time. Some of my couples want to have my favorite is the first look when they have not seen each other until the ceremony happens. That is one of the biggest things I live for. And if I can help make that, orchestrate that, coordinate that to happen, a audible gasp from all of your guests because you turned and you saw your boo thing at the top of the aisle right there when the music hits and there are tears coming out of your eyes and there are tears coming out of my eyes. That tells me that that particular ceremony hit the way you wanted it to. And I've walked up, I come back to those specific ceremonies and I'm like, you did it, we did it, and then we'll start. But I've got tears because you got to have that moment by yourself as you saw each other and it was just you two. And then I am crying because it happened and I made someone else cry. But it can really change and vary depending on my couples. If I can make it happen with that, if I can make the flow happen, the perfection is really objective. What is it that you want for your ceremony? My job is to coordinate with everyone that needs to be in charge and there to make that happen.
yeah. And I hate even saying the word
Right,
perfection,
right.
but it's one of those things where I'm like peeling back the layers for you specifically
Hmm.
in your business and the way that you do your ceremonies. It seems like from everything we've talked about, you're putting a ton of intentionality into the
Yeah.
way that you do things, the way that you set up for things, all the like planning
Yep.
process that goes into it. Is there something that you want couples to feel with that whole process of working with you?
Honestly, just knowing that I have their back, that what we discussed was delivered. It was put on business. That's the best way to put it. We did exactly what you were asking of me for your ceremony. Anything can happen. That's what Ellie Goulding says. But anything can happen on a ceremony day. And I have to still bring that ceremony, whether it's raining, whether somebody's running late, whether there's traffic. Any element can mess up the ceremony time, but my job is to make sure that despite all of that, we make that the moment that matters most as we continue the celebration.
Yeah, I mean, there is so much that could go
Yeah.
wrong, um, but it always seems to come
It
together.
turns out great.
Yeah, it
Turns
always
out
seems,
great.
especially if the couples are in a position and a mindset of like, at the end of it, we're gonna be married,
Hmm.
right? At the end of the ceremony, like we will be married. All of our favorite people are gonna be there,
Correct.
and it's just gonna be what it is.
Right.
And there's some things that we can kind of help
Right.
and keep from going
Yes.
awry, but there's going to be things that might just pop up.
Yeah.
And if you have a team that you trust,
Yes.
of vendors,
Absolutely.
a team of vendors that you trust, like you were talking about the team here, like they're gonna make sure
Oh, yeah.
that it basically goes unnoticed.
Right. 100%.
Um, is there like a ritual that you have like day of to kind of get yourself like, because you're public
Yeah.
speaking in a way. I know it's a very specific
Yeah.
style of public speaking, but there's something that like kind of gets you going to make sure you're like you're ready to go for the ceremony.
Man, no, I would honestly say most mornings I do some kind of workout, get that blood flowing, just energy go out, look at my kids, do some silly shenanigans. But when it's that time to travel to my venue, man, I get in my car and I put on emo music. I think that's it. Emo music or MGK and just jam out to that. When I get to the venue, I take a deep breath. We're here, and we just go into the ceremony itself.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like as a vendor, you got to do something to kind of get yourself
Yeah.
going. Day of the wedding, it's like you're hitting the gym, or
Hmm.
maybe you're reading something, or just spending time with your
Yeah.
family. Um, I know like we're gone for like a lot of the day when we
Right.
have a wedding. But I think it's just so important to like get grounded
Yes.
before you go out and jump into
Right.
the hustle and the bustle,
Yeah.
and even just jumping into like the day is so important for
Right.
the couple and even their families.
Yeah.
So like I've said before, you've been doing this for several years
Yep.
now. You were in the industry doing the DJ kind of stuff beforehand, a little bit on your own
Yep.
kind of thing, a little bit for some other companies as well. In business, if we could kind of speak to the vendors that are listening, what are some things that you wish you knew in business uh, when you first started
Yeah.
that you kind of have picked up on recently?
Relationships matter. That is the biggest thing that I will preach until I'm done officiating and DJing. Is just making sure that the relationships you build are people that you want to continue to thrive with, and that's creating a tribe. Your frienders. I know we've said that many times,
Yeah.
but just people that are there for all the right reasons, and that's just ensuring that we have a smooth event, wedding, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think if you surround yourself with vendors that are there for the right reason, one, you're gonna have a more fun wedding
Oh yeah,
day.
absolutely.
Just as a person who's working,
Hmm.
like you are working a job at that
Right.
point. It's gonna be a more fun day, but you're also gonna know that they're there for the right reasons
Right.
for the couple. They want to see the couple enjoy themselves, have a great
Yeah.
time, and for it to run smoothly, like you said.
Yeah.
Are there other systems or things that you do in your business that kind of help keep you in line, keep you organized,
Yeah,
keep you
absolutely.
like not
I
drowning?
yeah, I use a like a hybrid CRM. So I like to still, because there's always a personal touch from the officiant standpoint. My CRM does allow me the ability to, it sends me notes on when to send specific other emails. Some go automatically, others are like, hey, double check here. Actually, just had a couple. Actually, two. They have the quote expiration. I tell them in our calls, hey, you're going to get a reminder. I get dinged one too. It's not to stress anyone out. It's just, it lets them know. And that transparency they really like. And they both responded back with, no, you're not spamming at all. I was like, hey, I got the same email. But that allows me as a business owner to be able to say, I need to check in
Hmm.
more frequently. I need to be more intentional. And then as we get closer to like wedding days, I get more automated reminders just to keep me in check. Every Wednesdays, I call Wedding Wednesday. I spend an hour just back end stuff, and then of course coordinating schedules and following up with couples.
Yeah, because I mean, you throw 20 different couples in there
Hmm.
and you're trying to remember
Right.
names and dates and times because all the ceremonies are not at the same time.
Correct. Correct.
So you got to be making sure you're going to the right
Right.
place, showing up at the right time, and talking about
Yeah.
the right
The right
couple.
couple. Correct.
Have those systems kind of developed over time, or did you jump right in and you're like, I'm gonna put these in place and it's gonna be like organized from the start?
From the start, I just from the jump, it was just making sure the most important things that matter, because it is one day, that stuff hits first: the date, the people, and the time. And then of course, as we do the planning process, it's just ensuring that the date's still the same, which most of the time it is, uh, and the time may change and vary. And as long as they know that stuff, and I'm grateful that again I only take one wedding a day, that if anything were to happen despite that start time, I'll be available.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Leroy, it's been so great having you on the podcast.
Yeah.
The Brofficiant.
The Brofficiant.
I
Yep.
love it. It's so fun. It's so fun to hear the intentionality that you have with your couples and the way that you're taking officiating like really to another level.
Yeah.
It's not just like the ceremony.
Yeah.
It's way more than just the ceremony for you. And I hope everyone that's listening has kind of seen that as well.
I hope so too. This is a lot of fun.
So if they're like, yo, we need to get this dude at our wedding, where can they find and follow along and reach out?
Yeah, best place honestly is Instagram at the Brofficiant, and right there in people have the link in bio. Mine's called a milkshake. Click that; it'll send you right to a booking location and the website. Other than that, send me a DM. I respond as fast as I can when I'm not wrestling with my kids, and we just go from there.
Yeah, and all that stuff will be linked down in the description. So if you want to check out what Leroy is doing or reach out, ask him questions, check in on all the stuff that he's doing, you can do that with the description. The link's in the description. But I appreciate you guys tuning into this episode of the podcast. This podcast is so fun for me. So fun to connect with vendors, hear the heart behind their businesses, and even just give them a chance to like Leroy, just talk about the
Yeah.
things that are exciting for him and his business. So if you're watching on YouTube, what's up? How's it going? If you could like, subscribe, drop a comment, let us know how you liked the episode, or if you have questions for either one of us. It'd be so fun to interact there. And then if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, it'd be awesome. It'd be so awesome if you could leave us a review and just let us know how you're liking the show. I love getting to interact with people about the episodes and the guests that we have on, and we have a ton more coming out, so make sure you guys are tuning in to those new episodes. But that's all for this one, and we'll catch you next time on the Preferred List.
See you later.